Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm sure we'll be joined by others, but we'll get started. And this meeting will be recorded so that we can share out on Facebook and social media with folks who would like to participate in this information. So tonight's meeting, the agenda was brought about based on questions at previous meetings. Last week, we had a candidate mixer with the candidates for elected office in Pittsfield. And there were a lot of questions about the roles of those individuals and kind of the need for more information for folks to understand the context of who's running, what they're running for, what is their role when they get that position, etc. So we probably should have done this before the mixer, but we're doing it now. So we'll start with introductions with folks. We'll go around, a reminder of Election Day, and then we're going to go through the roles in English and in Spanish of the clerk, the school committee, and city council, all of which you can vote for this coming Tuesday, November 2nd. So yeah, let's go around the room with new and good. Any volunteers who would like to start? Scott.
Buenas
I'm
noches.
Scott Haskell. I work for 18 Degrees, specifically at the PCC SFY program out on West Housatonic Street.
And we start with a new and good. So something positive, something new and good in your life, Scott.
Something new and good. I like the fall and cold weather, and it didn't rain today.
You're here. And all right, Maria.
Good night. I'm Maria Menaca, the navegadora of the Working Cities. And my new and good is I got today my shot for the vaccine, the third doses. This is my new and good.
The booster shot.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I hope you're feeling spry. Alicia.
Hello, I'm Alicia from the Berkshire Athenaeum. My new and good, I went on a nice hike this past weekend, and I also got a cool haircut recently. Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin. I'm from 18 Degrees as well. And my new and good is that we got a puppy a few weeks ago. So she's 13 weeks. And when you see me leave this, turn my camera off tonight, that's probably why. I'll be chasing her around the house. Oh, let me see, Diana.
Don't know if Diana can speak.
Diana, buenas noches.
I know because of tonight's an info session, some people were planning on just having their earbuds in while working and stuff. So maybe that's what Diana's doing. I'll share for Tanya is one of our community navigators. She's not going to be able to speak, having no voice due to having surgery on her thyroid, having it removed several weeks ago. But her new and good is that she's officially started Christmas shopping, which is fun. Alan.
Howdy. My name is Alan Vreeland. I am a community navigator with the Navigator team with Berkshire Bridges. And my new and good is November's coming up. So oftentimes I like to participate in a lot of writing that month, excuse me. And it like NaNoWriMo, very common fun time for me. I wrote an entire book in 2019. I didn't do anything with it. I didn't finish editing it or anything, but it was quite a bit. It was really fun. And so I would be participating in that again this year. And hopefully I'll have something to write about in a few days. So I've been a lot of practicing and getting my practice of writing back up and going. So that's my new and good is brand new writing practice.
Very cool. Thank you, Alan. Becky Ringer from Pittsfield Adult Learning Center can't turn her mic on because she has also a new puppy and she wants to keep her puppy from squeaking, I guess, over the microphone. All right, great. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. What we think is an important presentation to the community and one that we hope to develop on and kind of continue with development of kind of educating the community about the various systems and in institutions that have impacts on their lives. So quickly a reminder, Tuesday, November 2nd is election day for Pittsfield city elections. Voting for one of the candidates you're voting for is city clerk. It is unopposed and has been unopposed for, I don't know how long. I think the current city clerk has been in that position for well over a decade. But the city clerk issues licenses and permits, collects birth, marriage, and death records, and serves as the general recording officer and custodian of records for the city of Pittsfield. They also serve as the chief election official, and they supervise the elections within the city. So all voter registrations go through to them. They conduct the annual city census, and they're a member of the overall board of registrars. The city clerk provides staff assistance to the city council, including preparing the agenda. They record the minutes. They archive the petitions and decisions and ordinances that come out of those meetings. So basically the clerk serves as the secretary for city council, and the city clerk acts as a hub for kind of all general government access by the public. So all city kind of departments and requests go through that office. Maria, can you translate en español, por favor? Gracias.
Claro que sí, Dua. Dice, el secretario municipal emite licencias y permisos, recopila registro de nacimiento, matrimonio y defunción. Actúa como oficial del registro y es el custodio de valiosos registros municipales. Como oficial principal de elecciones, el secretario municipal supervisa las elecciones, el registro de votantes y realiza el censo anual de la ciudad y es miembro de la Junta de Registradores. El secretario de la ciudad brinda asistencia de personal del Consejo Municipal, incluida la preparación de la agenda, el registro de actas y el archivo de peticiones, órdenes y ordenanzas. El secretario de la ciudad actúa como el centro del gobierno para el público en general, todos los departamentos de la ciudad y numerosas agencias federales, estatales y locales.
Gracias.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions or additions that people have? I know there's some people on this call who might know more than myself about the city clerk. Anything we should add or any questions about that? This also serves as a reminder that these are positions that can be filled by anyone from the community. So the clerk has gone unchallenged. Maybe consider if there's anyone else from the community who might be interested in it, you have the right to run for that role as well. Okay, moving on. So to contact the city clerk, obviously you can go to City Hall. They're on the first floor, left side of the building. Phone number is there. And then there's also the website. Alan, do you mind putting that website in the chat so that it's clickable for folks? Thank you. How long before the election does someone need to start running? Very good question. I had the answer. So there is, actually, you can request from the city clerk's office. So I can get this to you pretty quickly, Tanya. But there's a timeline for all elections where by a certain date, everyone who intends to run for certain office has to have put in their intent to run. For certain positions, you need to have a prerequisite amount of signatures. Basically, you have to get a certain amount of people from the community to support you in running for that role. And then you basically just submit the paperwork to the clerk's office by that date. And that is usually a month or two before the registration deadline, which then is about 2 to 3 weeks before election day. So the whole process is no more than, I think, like 4 months long. And then if you're elected in November, you obviously you don't serve in that role in that office until January. So on January kind of 1st or 2nd, the first Monday of the year is when the turnover actually happens. Good question. Any others? The link that Alan had, I think, should have it, but I'll find the specific document that has the kind of schedule on it, and I'll share that as soon as I can. Cool. So then I just put that in Spanish. I don't know why, it's the same information. Okay. Tanya says, you said the current city clerk has been in the position for a long time. Is that because of no one else? Correct. She actually is joking that she just wins by default because nobody else is interested in taking her job. So she kind of she's run unopposed for several elections now. I don't know, maybe people think that it's a hard job or it's a busy job. It's definitely, you have a lot of responsibility, but it's not all on you. There is a staff that works for the city clerk. And it's all kind of prescribed in terms of what the city clerk is supposed to be doing. It looks like, yeah, municipal election schedule has been posted. Thank you, Rebecca. So another common question that came out of the candidate mixer was, what does the school committee do, and what is what is it made up of? So the school committee is a 7-member total committee or board. 7 is elected through the election, but 1 seat is for the mayor. So the mayor is always sitting on the school committee. The elected members have a 2-year term. Obviously, the mayor has a 4-year term. And to be eligible, all you have to do is be a registered voter and citizen of Pittsfield. María.
Ok, el comité escolar. El comité escolar tiene una composición de 7 miembros en total, 6 elegidos por el público, 1 escaño para alcalde. El término del periodo es de 2 años para cada miembro y debe ser un votante registrado de Pittsfield para ser elegible.
You?
Ya, terminé.
Oh, just a quick note that those 6 elected members are at large. So they're not necessarily from any particular neighborhood in the city. Anyone in the city can run, and there is no qualifying about how many people can be on the board from a certain area of the city. So like in theory, everyone on that board could be from one neighborhood. ¿Quieres traducir eso? Es que no importa dónde se viven, miembros, ellos están en general en la ciudad.
Bueno, ya lo dijiste tú, Juan.
Gotcha. So their powers and duties are to actually, they select and they have the power to remove the superintendent of the schools for the city of Pittsfield. They make all the rules and regulations for the management of the school system. And they adopt and oversee the annual operating budget for the school department. I put in, for your information, the 2021 school budget is over $65 million. So those elected officials are in charge of administering and dispersing that large amount of money to make sure that our school system runs well. María.
Las facultades y obligaciones. Selección y remoción de un superintendente de escuela. Hacer todas las reglas y regulaciones razonables para la gestión del sistema escolar público. Adoptar y supervisar la administración del presupuesto operativo anual para el departamento escolar. Presupuesto escolar 2021 fueron 65 billones, no, millones 113.700.000 dólares.
Any questions, additional facts about the school committee?
Por ejemplo, Dúa, y de todo ese presupuesto, ¿quién es la persona que hace o sea, cómo distribuyen?
¿Cómo? Oh, ellos solo pueden hacerlo por su presupuesto. Es cómo va a pagar los profesores y cómo es eso. Es como lo mismo cada año, pero si hay cambios, ese grupo pueden decir.
Okay.
So Maria is asking more specifically, so what exactly do they do with the 65 million? And the school budget is fairly similar year to year in terms of, you know, teacher salaries and maintenance of the school buildings, things like that. But any changes to that budget is going to be decided by this group. So there are proposals. They actually mentioned that the candidate mixer about school resource officers, and if there's room in the budget to have an alternative to having police officers in the school. Instead, I think, Tanya, you called them teachers of deportment, I think, but basically social, more support for teachers and students in the school. And is there room in the budget to pay for that instead of having a police officer in the school, for example? The other thing that was brought up in that meeting, why I mentioned earlier with the at-large, is should it be considered a change to the rules that the school committee actually has representation from each ward, and that each neighborhood of the city has the opportunity to have a representative at the school committee level, and we don't run the risk of having a concentration of members on the school committee who are unaware of the conditions in the schools in certain part of the city. Right now, there is no one, speaking particularly for the West Side neighborhood, for example, there's no one who lives in the West Side who has kids who go to Conti or Crosby who serves on the school committee, right? So how is the best interest of those schools and those children being served at this time? And is there a way that we can kind of systematically improve that?
Can I comment quick?
Please do.
So one of the questions I think was Tanya asked about the term limits, the 2 to 4 years. And so I don't remember the year, but so the city charter was just overdone probably, I don't know, 6 years ago, maybe 8, you know, COVID time. I have no idea like really what year it was. But anyway, so the city charter, that's what determines what term limits are, or the terms are. And they changed at that particular time when they updated the city charter, they changed the mayor to 4 years, but they kept the city council and the school committee at 2 years. And then the other piece about the school committee, which I served on that for 2 terms, it's probably the closest really form of government to the people, because you're really serving families a lot of the time. I mean, you're really close to families, right? And so definitely having people on there that are parents and that are representative from the whole community is really important. And I'm not sure we're going to get that this year with the candidates who are running.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna echo what I said about the city clerk. This is probably one of the kind of like easily accessible, low-hanging fruit for a member of the community who cares and wants to do some good to have a role in that. And so just get a couple other parents to sign the petition saying that you're eligible to run, and then put your name in the running. And so I'd love for us to think strategically over the next 2 years about getting more candidates. I think the amount of candidates running for school committee should be much higher than it is. We basically have people running unopposed for a 6-person body, which shouldn't be. We should have at least 12, 16, 20 people running for those seats so that it is really competitive, and we have people who are going to be accountable to our families and our children, right? Thank you, Aaron. Okay, so moving along. City Council. Yay. The City Council is the legislative body of the city of Pittsfield. Councilors are elected every 2 years, as Aaron said, by the citizens of Pittsfield. The council is made up of 4 at-large councilors that represent the entire city, so they can live anywhere in the city, and 9 district councilors that represent specific areas of the city. The city council serves as a link between the citizens of, that's not right, it's not 9. The city council serves as a link between the citizens of Pittsfield and their municipal government. I should say 7. Councilors help constituents by connecting them to resources, services, and city departments, and they serve as advocates for all Pittsfielders. Through their work, city councilors make sure Pittsfield continues to be a great place to live, work, and play. María.
Aquí estoy. El Consejo Municipal es el cuerpo legislativo de la ciudad de Pittsfield. Los concejales son elegidos cada 2 años por los ciudadanos de Pittsfield. El consejo está compuesto por 4 concejales generales que representan a toda la ciudad y 9 concejales de distrito que representan áreas específicas de la ciudad. El ayuntamiento sirve como enlace entre los ciudadanos de Pittsfield y el gobierno municipal. Los concejales ayudan a los electores, conectándolos con recursos, servicios y departamentos de la ciudad. Sirve como defensores de todos los ciudadanos de Pittsfield. A través de su trabajo, los concejales de la ciudad se aseguran de que Pittsfield continúe siendo un gran lugar para vivir, trabajar y divertirse.
Gracias.
Vamos.
So, to correct what I said before, we have 4 at-large councilors that serve citywide and 7 ward councilors that represent each ward of Pittsfield. The public and accessible meetings are held on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday at 6 o'clock. However, in July, August, and December, I guess they get a week off. So they only meet once on the 2nd Tuesday of that month. María.
El Consejo Municipal. 4 concejales, el Consejo Municipal tiene 4 concejales generales. 7 concejales de barrio que representan a cada barrio de Pittsfield. Las reuniones se llevan a cabo el 2º y 4º mes a las 6 de la tarde en julio, agosto y diciembre. El ayuntamiento solo se reúne una vez cada 2º martes.
Gracias.
Yeah.
Any questions, concerns about city council? Or things to add? So those city council meeting agendas are often very long. Requests from the mayor, requests from citizens. There's a lot going on. So city council members have a lot of control and power over the little and big decisions that are made in Pittsfield kind of every day. So if they have control over whether the city can accept additional grant funds or spend money, so money coming in, money going out, and what it can be used for, the city council has a lot of control over that. But unlike, as we said, the school committee, there are members who are kind of beholden to particular areas of the city. So they're elected by their ward. And so they should be more accessible to the people who live in their area, and they can get direct feedback from those people. And so part of a job of a city councilor is to advocate even for individual issues of constituents that live in their ward. I said ward, so here's the ward map. I will drop a link into the chat so you can have a larger version if you need it. Because this one you can't really zoom in on.
En este momento estamos presentando lo que es el mapa de la ciudad de Pittsfield y como cada una de las localidades o barrios que tenemos.
Right. So if you can see through this map where you live, then you know which ward councilor you can vote for. But if you cannot see through this map, there is a link that I will also share in the chat where you can put in your address and it will tell you exactly where to go to vote. Second. There. Okay, so yes, reminder, Tuesday, November 2nd. If you don't know where, use the link. Please feel free, and I encourage you to share that link out with folks who may not be aware of where their polling location is. And if you know of anybody who has transportation issues, and that would be the barrier to them voting, to please reach out to us at the Community Navigator team of Berkshire Bridges, and we will help triage that issue and either provide them with transportation or get them a shared ride. María, ¿puedes decir eso? Que si tienes problemas con transporte. Estás en silencio.
Si alguna persona necesita transportación para poder llegar a las áreas de votación, esa persona puede comunicarse con nosotros y nosotros, los navegadores de la comunidad, podemos prestarle servicio de transportación.
So we also wanted to remind folks that after November 2nd, that your ability to participate in the city government does not end. It's not just voting, is not the only time you get to participate. So there is a city calendar that anyone can access. Here it goes, putting it in the chat. And it will have upcoming city council meetings, school committee meetings, other board meetings and committee meetings at City Hall or online that are open to the public. So we encourage residents to participate in those, make your voice heard, especially if it's an issue that you care about or is close to you. And yeah, you want to be able to hold those elected officials accountable. So the way to do that outside of Election Day is to show up to those meetings. Okay, and then we have the polling locations for folks. Both wards 1A and 1B are at Reed Middle School. Ward 2 is at Morningside School. Ward 2.
Ah,
¿Quieres
Perdón, Dúa.
Sí.
Sí. Iba a decirles que los lugares que está mostrando Dúa actualmente son los diferentes lugares que hay para puestos de votación y que de acuerdo al sector donde vivimos, pues esos son los lugares donde podemos ir a registrar nuestro voto. Ya, puedes continuar, Dúa.
Okay, so 2B is at the fire station on Somerset Avenue. 3A is at Providence Court, which is a apartment building, I believe. 3B is out at the Egremont School on Egremont Avenue. 4A is at the Herberg Middle School on Pomeroy. 4B is at the Williams School on Bushy Road. The idea here is to make it convenient for folks. These should be central to your ward and easily accessible. Both 5A and 5B is in the library. 6A is at Columbia Arms at the top of the hill on Columbus Avenue. 6B, the other side of Ward 6, is at the Conti School. 7A is out on Pex Road at the fire station. And 7B is at the Capeless Elementary School on Brooks Avenue. This is also always available on the city website. If you go to the clerk, and it will give you the polling locations. Again, the link there will give you your specific polling location. You don't need to know all of them, just the one you need to go to. Any questions, concerns about that? Nope. Okay, so yeah, that's it for that presentation. I'd like to open the floor to other topics that we can cover in terms of encouraging folks to have critical knowledge of the government or the systems that serve them. So basically, any topics you think we should cover in future Working Cities Wednesday meetings that we can research and provide a presentation to the community for, like this one. Any other kind of government roles that we want to learn about or systems that we want to know more about. We know everything. We're good.
Have you had conversations about the school resource officers? Like in this space?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
It's kind of gone back and forth. It was definitely a topic we talked about at the candidate mixer very recently. It was a question posed to the candidates for school committee. And there were multiple kind of community conversations, I think, in the last year about that, where community navigators and other residents participated. I think in general, parents feel anxious about a police officer in the schools, but the counter is from the school administrators. There seems to be a sense that without school police resource officers, that there isn't a bulwark or there isn't a control to that problem or issue. And I think Tanya has spoken, or at least typed about this at many recent meetings, about the need for more critical thinking about other solutions beyond police officers, that can't be the only solution to that problem, and that we are kind of smart enough and capable enough as a community to come up with at least one other option, right? And so we'd like the conversation to be going in that direction. So yeah, that could be a continuing kind of topic of discussion, sure. Rebecca said, I see a lot of meetings in Pittsfield calendar are most open to the public. Yes, if they're on the calendar, they are a public meeting. Even the like land use ones, by Massachusetts state law, kind of publicly held city government meetings have to be accessible to the public. So if they're held online, they still need to provide a call-in number. And so that was an issue during COVID of when they closed City Hall, is that they had to come up with a system that allowed the public to participate and attend those meetings. And so a lot of them went to Zoom, where you could call in and actually speak at those meetings if you needed to. Some meetings have gone back to in-person, but not all. So if you click on the link in the calendar, it should have specifics about the location or instructions on how to access that meeting. Some might be a little boring about the direction of the rotary road and how much elevation the Tyler Street can have or whatever as it bypasses X, Y, or Z. But others, as people can say, are about real decisions about a developer being able to buy up multiple parcels in your neighborhood to build something that you may or may not want. There are proposals about the school resource officers that come in front of the city council. There are proposals about what to do with large amounts of money that we want the city to hear from everyday folks about, and not just their echo chamber at City Hall, right? They need to hear from everybody to make really informed decisions. Yes, Kumar.
I hesitate, excuse me, I hesitate to ask this, but what might it take to run for an elected position?
There is maybe we can post it again in the chat. There is a process.
Oh, did you cover it and I missed it?
Yeah, they asked basically, if you wanted to run for city clerk, what do you need to do? So there is an election schedule that's posted by the city clerk. I'm going to put it again in the chat. That basically gives a deadline by which you have to submit if you want to run for any particular office. And I think it's different depending on which role you're going for, but you need a certain amount of signatures from the community in order to run. I think it's like 20, but it might be more. Erin, do you know?
Yeah, it's if you're running for a ward position, it's 75. And I think if it's wait, am I right? No, it's either 75 and 150 or 150 and 300, depending on ward or citywide election.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so for citywide, if you're gonna go for a
Yes.
citywide position, you need
It's more.
more, right? So I guess a clerk, you probably need a lot. At large counselor, you would need the higher amount.
The more, yeah,
But for ward counselor, you the lower.
yeah. And I think if anybody is interested in running, lots of people who have been in elected office are more than happy to meet with people and just talk about the experience and some tips and offer support. So I know I would do that. And I know a lot of the folks in office right now or who have been in office would be more than willing to share their experience.
Sounds like a really cool idea for an upcoming Working Cities Wednesday, a little workshop on what you have to do to get yourself or a leader from your community elected, with some former elected officials there. I think that'd be a really cool idea. I know there's some folks who have just recently kind of, let's say, resigned from their positions, and so they might be really interested in helping kind of cultivate the next generation of elected officials serving our community. So as always, ideas and suggestions for these meetings can be directed to myself or to the Berkshire Bridges Working Cities Facebook page, or to any of our navigators. But I would like to leave the last 10 minutes or so for, oh, cool, Alan, you got your number up on the screen. That's awesome. Any announcements? I haven't been to a working cities meeting since the very beginning. Ashley's can you briefly through any updates? Yeah, sure. So Berkshire Bridges Working Cities, as most people know, is a citywide coalition of, let's call it, cross-sector organizations, all working towards improving the quality of life and stability of our households in the neighborhoods. So Habitat for Humanity is the backbone organization of the coalition. So we serve to supervise and support the Community Navigator team, which is a activity or program born out of Berkshire Bridges Working Cities. So they do resource connections for people in the neighborhood and kind of general outreach. We've also been involved in vaccine outreach and letting people know about access points for the vaccine and encouraging them to get vaccinated. In the past year, we helped get outreach for the census and get improved data collection for that. We've also been involved with the city's ongoing hearing sessions, you call them, around CDBG and ARPA funds and how to kind of get community input to inform the distribution of those funds. And yeah, so any organization that wishes to get involved or get re-involved in the coalition can reach out to me or any community navigator. While we were once mighty, I think when Berkshire Bridges first started 4 or 5 years ago, the steering committee has kind of dwindled down to a handful of organizations that are still directly involved in the work, but there's still ample opportunity for support from our other partner organizations out there. And if you have any kind of prospective resident leader who you think might be interested in serving on our steering committee, we are always interested in increasing the amount of residents, not just organizational staff members, sitting at that meeting, so that those conversations are constantly informed by the perspective and experience of our community residents. So the community navigators sit at the steering committee right now, but we'd love to leave seats open for everyday residents as well. So right now, the main activities of Berkshire Bridges is the Working Cities Wednesdays and the Community Navigators. We've been fluctuating around with the format of these meetings, from open forums to specific presentations and topics. And so we're willing to kind of switch back and forth based on what the interest and demand requires of us. I hope that answers your question. But yeah, I'd like to leave some open space for anyone in the meeting right now to make any announcements of upcoming activities, events, resources, or things you want the community to know about. The recording of this meeting will be posted to Facebook, so folks not in this meeting will have access to your information. And if you have any links or resources you want to share in the chat, we'll be sure to share those out on our Facebook page as well. So yeah, any upcoming events that people want to share, or resources or services?
We'll have the CHP vaccine van will be at 18 Degrees this Saturday. So it will have both the flu vaccines and COVID vaccines available. So if you need, you can call our office for more information.
And you can get both at the same time, FYI. You can get your flu and your COVID shot at the same time. Alan, yeah.
Please excuse my voice. I had a bit of an allergy attack during the meeting, but I wanted to share that the local RLC, or the formerly RLC, formerly the Recovery Learning Community, now called the Wildflower Alliance, which is a peer center, a peer-to-peer support center where people can get support for things that they're going through, have someone hear them out, and stuff that's going on for them. They have clothing in the back office where they have gloves, jackets, shirts, I think some shoes, but they might be out of shoes. But they have a bunch of used clothing that's available to folks that need it, as well as a little food pantry in the back with little boxes that can be stuffed with canned goods. I saw, all sorts of canned goods that was back there. So if you know anybody in the area that is looking for these types of things, that's a really good place to get it. And that is at 361 North Street. I'll post a link in the chat below, but they're just a really good place to go to get peer support. They also have a little bit of food in the back, as well as that little clothing room in the middle. So I'll post it in the chat below.
Thanks, Alan. And I see Rebecca posted the Adult Learning Center is offering free ESOL and ABE classes for adult diplomas and high school equivalency preparation on a rolling admission basis. Awesome. So no deadline. When you're ready, go on in. Rebecca, do you mind putting a contact, either the address or link or phone number in there so we can share that out? Thank you. That reminded me two things happening on Saturday. Also, in addition to the mobile CHP van being at 18 degrees, there is a Halloween party. The West Side Halloween block party is going to be at the Riverway Park on Dewey Avenue from noon, 12 to 4 p.m. Candy and fun for the kids. Rain or shine, no rain date for that. And there will be some, and there's pumpkin carving event at the library from 10 to 2 with other crafts and activities. Masks required. Thank you, Alicia. So you can do 2 pumpkin events in one day. You can go from 10, and then after they're done there, go down to the Riverway Park. So that's, and the other one I was going to mention is, I should say it in Spanish. Si estás un inmigrante de Colombia, va a estar una actividad en las oficinas de Habitat este sábado con el cónsul del país de Colombia. Si necesitas ayuda con su pasaporte o ID o algo como así, por favor contactar a María, Nancy o Connie para obtener una cita para sábado. For everyone else's sake, there's a
Perfecto.
Gracias, Duwa, gracias.
the Colombian consulate is going to do a mobile service at the Habitat for Humanity office on Columbus Avenue on Saturday. So Colombian immigrants from Colombia who need assistance with their ID or passport or anything can make an appointment with a community navigator, so that can be handled directly by a consulate staff member on Saturday, which is really cool. Got contact information. Oh, sorry. So the vaccine van is actually Friday, not Saturday. I have the calendar somewhere. I can post it. Let's see. Pardon me for a second. So days left. Yes, Friday. Well, so for Thursday, tomorrow, it's going to be at Lee Family Practice in Lee. And Friday at 18 degrees from 9 to 12. And then from 1 to 3, it's going to be at the Pittsfield Senior Center on North Street. So morning at 18 degrees, Friday afternoon at the Pittsfield Senior Center. The community navigators get a weekly update of the location of the CHP mobile van. So we only have up until Friday, but if folks are interested with locations for next week, you can reach out to the community navigator team on Monday. We should have that information. So I see the links are in the chat. We'll be sure to share those out along with the recording of this video. Any other announcements, questions, concerns, general or specific? No? Okay. Well, I'm not going to take up any more of your evening time, and I hear my children making weird noises in the other side of the house. So I have to go before I have to buy a new TV or something. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it, and hope to see you guys soon. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Gracias,
everybody.
Juan. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.